ओके ल आज मेजर अफ डिस्पर्सन हामी गर्ने है त अब मेजर अफ डिस्पर्सनमा ओके मेजर अफ डिस्पर्सन है मेजर अफ डिस्पर्सनमा we will study about the variability है त भेरिएसन हेर्ने हो for example if I measure average value of the length of my finger it will be something like say 2.5 inch or 3 inch like this but it will not explain about the variation in the length of my fingers okay look someone is this one is very short yes this one is the longest one so in order to study about the variation of the length of my finger I need some other tool besides measure of central tendency and those are known as measure of dispersion. Now in measure of dispersion you will study different tools like range. You can note down range R-A-N-G-E range. First one is, second one is coefficient of range. Coefficient of range. Third one is quartile deviation. Quartile. Q-U-A-R-T-I-L-E. Quartile deviation. Interquartile range. Standard deviation. Variance. V-A-R-I-A-N-C-E variance. And finally, coefficient of variation. Okay, these are the different tools that are used to measure the variation or to measure the variability of the given data set. Now, first one is range. Range is the simplest measure of dispersion. It is defined as the difference between the largest and smallest observation. It is the difference between largest and smallest observation. For example, suppose you have the data set, say simply you have a variable x and the possible values of x are say 1, 2 and 3. Now in this case, there are 3 observations in this data set, 1, 2 and 3. Here the smallest observation is 1 and the largest observation is 3. So the range is 3 minus 1, that is 2. Here 1 is the smallest observation, that is known as minimum value, and 3 is the largest observation and that is known as the maximum value. So range is also defined as the differences between maximum and minimum value, or the differences between largest and smallest value. So it is very easy to calculate because you know how to calculate the differences. Just subtract, you will get the value. So it is very easy. For example, I want to calculate the range of weight of students in your class. Then range will be range equals to maximum weight minus minimum weight. In this way, we will calculate the value of range. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
यो सजिलो छ कि गाह्रो छ?
सजिलो छ.
It's very easy, yes?
Yes, sir.
Is it difficult? No.
No, sir.
No, it's very easy. Now, suppose you have 2 data sets. I will give you next example, not this one. Next example. Suppose, what happens if the value of range will be 0? What happens if the value of range is equals to 0? No
All
idea.
data have
Frequency.
All data have,
Same.
all are similar. All the values are same. That means 2, 2, 2, 2. Range will be 0. If the data is like this, say 40 kg, 40 kg, 40 kg, then again range equals to 0. Okay. So if all the observations are equal, the value of range will be 0. Now what does this mean? This means that there is uniformity in the data. Uniformity in the data. Or you can say data are completely homogeneous. No heterogeneity. By heterogeneity we mean scatteredness, scattered. So there is no any scatteredness in the data if the value of range equals to 0. If you have pen and paper, just write down x, that is the variable x. Now write down the possible values of x, like 2, 2, 2, 2. 3 2's. Right. Write down 2, 2, 2. Now calculate the value of range. You will get R equals to maximum observation minus minimum observation. That is 0. Because all the observations are same. So 2 minus 2 equals to 0. Now prepare another data set, say y. Write down the values of y are 2, 2 and 3. Values of y are 2, 2 and 3. Now in this case, what is the value of range? What's the value of range here?
1.
What's the value of range?
1.
1. Why 1?
3 minus 2, largest minus
Okay, very
smallest.
good. 3 minus 2 equals to 1. So now if you compare this data set with the previous one, you can see there is difference on values of range. There is difference on value of range. Yes, on previous data set, value of range was 0. Now in this case, value of range is 1. That means if the value of range equals to 0, all the data are equal. If the value of range is not equals to 0, there is some differences in the data. Like in this case. Look at in this case, observations are 2, 2 and 3. Yes. So there is differences on observation. All are not equal. That's why range is not equals to 0. Now prepare another data set Z. Z equals to 2, 3 and 4. Write down Z. Values of Z are 2, 3 and 4. Now here in this case, value of range equals to 4 minus 2, that is 2. Now if you compare this value with the previous one, you can say the value of range is higher in this case compared to previous one. This means that as the value of range increases, variability also increases, dispersion also increases, heterogeneity also increases, scatteredness also increases. You must remember this point. As the value of range increases, what happens? Yes, if the value of range increases,
Dispersion increases.
dispersion increases, scatteredness increases, heterogeneity increases. Now you can prepare different data set and you can observe this pattern in the data. Now my question is, for all of you, listen carefully, my question is it possible that the value of range will be negative? This is my question. is there any possibility that the value of range will be negative?
No, sir.
No. Why no? Yes, why no?
Sir. Yes, sir, it is possible. If both the variable are in negative, then the case is possible.
Yes, if all the observations are negative, then it is possible. But actually, whenever we calculate range, we will take a modulus, that means absolute value. What is the difference between -2 and -3? Yes, anybody? What's the gap between -2 and -3?
1.
1.
1 or -1?
1.
Why 1?
-1.
Why not -1?
-1.
Because -2 is 1 smaller,
Good.
1 greater than -3.
1 greater than. We will take modulus value, yes?
Yes, sir.
Absolute value in Sony Amilo, okay now. Similarly, here also in case of range, we will calculate range in terms of absolute value. We will take modulus value. So the minimum value of range will be 0 and it will not exceed, it will not go beyond 0. That is the lower limit. Lower limit of range equals to 0. Negative ko are you clear now?
Yes, sir.
Whenever we reach to the point 0, if we say range equals to 0, it means that all the observations are uniform, all the observations are same, no dispersion at all. That's why it will never go beyond 0. Okay. Now, what is the upper limit of range? Can you guess? If the lower limit of range is 0, then what is the upper limit of range? Any idea? If the lower
Finite.
limit is, yes, we cannot define.
Sir, very, very large. It
may
can be very large.
okay, it may be very, very large. For example, if our one observation is say 10 billion, other observation is say 900 billion, then what will be the range? It's so large. Now, upper limit of range does not exist. That means we cannot define the upper limit of range. Can you prove it? Can you give some strong logic? These are just an example.
Like if we take weight of all the population, some might have like few like baby might have few grams and a few kgs, and the bigger person will have about like 100, and the range can be 90. That's very
Yes,
large.
yes. Those are the examples. For example, if we calculate the range of weight of a human being, it may be say upper limit is 100 kg. And the weight of newly born baby is say 2.5 kg. That is the range, 100 minus 2.5. Now it is not necessary that the upper limit will always be 100. It may be say 50, or it may be 60, or it may be 120, etc. These are the practical problems. But theoretically, we cannot define the upper limit of range. Why? Do you know? Practically also, lower limit of range will not be equals to 0. This is just a theoretical concept. Practically, whenever you collect real data, value of range will never be 0 because there will be some differences between all the numbers, all the values of the variable. For example, if you want to calculate the weight of students studying in your class, then the value of range will never be 0. There is some variability, there is some variation on weight among the students. But theoretically, if all the observations have equal value, then we say range equals to 0. This is the theoretical concept. Likewise, what is the upper limit of range? Can we define it or not?
No.
Yes, any idea? No? If no, how can you justify your, say, logic? Any idea? Okay, I will explain you. It's quite confusing. We will be able to calculate the value of range if and only if the values are in terms of number. Yes? Do you agree or not?
Yes.
To calculate range, values must be in terms of number. That means it must be a quantitative variable like height, weight, body mass index, pulse rate, etc. Now, those are the numbers which belongs to the real line. Yes? Or you can say those are the numbers which belongs to the real number. Do you know what is real number?
Yes.
Can you remember number system, real numbers, imaginary number, integers, positive integers, negative integers, rational number? Do you remember all those things? प्लस टूमा पढेको होइन र अस्ति भर्खर ए नि बिर्स्यो भने पनि सुन अब रियल नम्बरमा इट विल स्टार्ट फ्रम से आई विल स्टार्ट फ्रम 1 हुन त 0 -1 -2 पनि हुन्छ आई विल स्टार्ट फ्रम से 0 0 पछाडी के आउँछ भन त what comes after 0
0 point something.
Okay, 0 point something, or you can say simply 1. After 1, it comes 2. 1 पछाडि 1.1, 1.2 हुँदै हुँदै आउँछ त तर there is some again number between 1 and 1.1 त्यो छोड्दियो भने राइट जस्ट होल नम्बर लियो 1 पछि 2 2 पछि कति आउँछ what comes after 2 it's so easy 3 त्यस्तै गरी similarly will it end or not कि यसको एन्डिङ छ छैन यो त गएको गए हुन्छ तिमीहरूले जिन्दगीभर बाँचुन्जेल काउन्ट गर्यो भने पनि सिद्धिदैन अनि लास्टमा कुनै नम्बर आफ्नो बच्चालाई ह्यान्डओभर गरेर गयो भने पनि त्यो बच्चाले पनि लाइफ लङ काउन्ट गर्यो भने पनि सिद्धिदैन त्यस्तै त्यस्तै 10 पुस्ता 20 पुस्ता 100 हैन 100 जेनेरेसनसम्म पनि त्यो काउन्ट गर्न सिक्दैन दैट मीन्स is there any upper bound of those numbers is there any upper bound
No, sir.
are they bounded no
Sir.
that's why the difference will also be unbounded range मा त हामीले के गर्छौं डिफरेन्स निकाल्छौं दुईटा नम्बरको जब त्यो दुईटा नम्बर नै अनबाउन्डेड छ भने त जति पनि हुन सक्ने रहेछ के भएर रेन्जको अप्पर लिमिट पनि हुँदैन बट इट डिपेन्ड्स अकॉर्डिङ टु योर प्रब्लम फर एक्जाम्पल मैले तिम्रो क्लासको स्टुडेन्टको वेटको रेन्ज निकाल्न सक्छु बिकज दे आर बाउन्डेड नाउ दे आर बाउन्डेड वेट भन्ने बित्तिकै दे आर बाउन्डेड तिम्रो क्लासमा कति होला म्याक्सिमम वेट भएदेखि 80-90 किलो होला कसैको आई डोन्ट नो हुन सक्छ 90 केजी अनि मिनिमम वेट पनि होला कसैको से 45 केजी दैट मीन्स रेंज इज नाउ 90 minus 45 that is 45 kg so you must remember always remember whenever you are dealing with real data the value of range will neither be 0 nor it will be infinite or it can not be calculated it can be calculated but theoretically the minimum value of range is 0 maximum is we cannot determine why we cannot determine suppose you have two numbers say one is infinite other one is also infinite infinity minus infinity ke ho इनडिटर्मिनेन्ट फर्म भनेर कतै पढ्यो होला तिमीहरूले म्याथमेटिक्स याद छ कि छैन याद छ होला तिमीहरूले क्यालकुलसमा हैन पढ्दाखेरि इनडिटर्मिनेन्ट फर्म भनेर कतै न कतै पढ्यो होला अथवा फिजिक्समा पढ्यो होला इन्फिनिटी माइनस इन्फिनिटी हुँदैन इन्फिनिटी डिभाइडेड बाइ इन्फिनिटी हुँदैन भनेर हैन इन्फिनिटी टु द पावर इन्फिनिटी हुँदैन भनेर यसरी पढ्यो होला दैट दोज अल आर indeterminate forms. Those are in indeterminate forms. So, theoretically, now you are clear. Practically also you are clear. Now next, my question. So, मैले के गरेँ भने गर्ल्सहरुको हाइट मेजर गरेँ अनि बोइजहरुको वेट मेजर गरेँ. Now my question is, which data set has larger variation, height or weight? Listen carefully. I measured the height of each and every girl's student. I measured the weight of each and every boy's student. Now my question is, which data set has larger variation, height or weight?
Weight.
Why weight? Yes, why? Yes.
Maximum weight र minimum weight को difference body हुन्छ.
Body आउँछ. Maximum weight र minimum weight को difference body आउँछ. त्यही भएर weight को भनेको हो.
हजुर. Yes.
ल मानौ body नै आयो अरे. Range को unit of measurement हुन्छ कि हुँदैन? Five feet minus 2 feet equals to कति आउँछ?
2 feet.
5 feet minus 2 feet equals to के आउँछ रिजल्ट?
3 feet.
3 मात्र आउँछ कि 3 feet पनि आउँछ?
3 feet unit सँगै.
Unit. Don't forget to mention the unit of measurement. I am sure your physics teacher explained a lot about this when you were studying in your school or college level. So in this case, range of weight will be in terms of kilogram. Range of height will be in terms of say feet or meter or centimeter. Now can you compare kilogram and centimeter?
No, sir.
Can you compare it?
No.
No. If you cannot compare, then how can you say variation on weight is larger than variation in height? Can we say it?
No.
No. That's why the range is not applicable if we have more than one data set and we want to compare the variation or variability among them. Although it is very, very easy to calculate. You must remember, though range is very, very easy to calculate, but it is not so much applicable if we are going to measure two or more than two different data sets which are measured in terms of different unit of measurement. Are you clear now?
Yes, sir.
जस्तो तिमीहरुको हाइट मा बडी भेरिएसन छ कि वेट मा बडी भेरिएसन छ भनेर कम्पेयर गर्नु पर्यो भने रेन्जबाट नहुने रहेछ. But if they are measured by same unit of measurement, we can calculate and use range. For example, गर्ल्सहरुको वेट र बोयजहरुको वेट कसको वेट मा बडी भेरिएसन छ हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ in that case you can apply range. Are you clear? अथवा गर्ल्सहरुको हाइट र बोयजहरुको हाइट अथवा गर्ल्सहरुको ब्लड प्रेसर बोयजहरुको ब्लड प्रेसर कसमा बडी भेरिएसन छ हेर्नु पर्यो भने चाहिँ रेन्जबाट हेर्न मिल्छ. तर गर्ल्सहरुको बीपी र बोयजहरुको हाइट हैन कुनमा बडी भेरिएसन छ भनेर सोध्यो भने चाहिँ रेन्ज भन्न पाइदैन. Okay, this is all about range. Any question?
No, sir.
Case on a soda. You can ask me. Just unmute your microphone and ask me. It's very easy. होइन कुनै गाह्रो होइन क्वेसन सोध्दा जस्तो सजिलो के छ र यसमा के सोध्नु छ भने भन ओके छैन ल ठिक छ त्यसो भने नेक्स्ट हाम्रो लास्टको प्रब्लम थियो नि if we have two or more than two different data set and they are measured by different units of measurement, then how to compare the variation or how can we compare the variability? If you will come across this type of problem, you can use coefficient of range. Coefficient of range. Now, coefficient of range is defined as coefficient of range equals to largest observation minus smallest observation divided by largest observation plus smallest observation. The whole life bracket with raka and into 100%. Okay. Coefficient of range is defined as largest observation minus smallest observation all upon largest observation plus smallest observation. Till I bracket with enclose अनि into गरेर 100% भयो सबैले लेख्नु
Pardon, please.
Okay, largest observation minus smallest observation divided by largest observation plus smallest observation. Oh, यो एक्सप्रेसनलाई ब्राकेट भित्र इन्क्लोज गर अनि into 100%. That will gives you coefficient of range. What? सबैले लेख्यो?
Yes, sir.
कसैलाई केही कन्फ्युजन छ यसमा डेफिनेसनमा?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Now,
Sir, coefficient of range भनेको के हो?
coefficient of range को फर्मुला लेख्यो कि लेखेनौ? लेख्यो?
हो सर.
Okay. Coefficient of range will also measure the dispersion. It is one of the tool to measure the dispersion. Whenever you cannot use range, you can use coefficient of range. Like in our previous example, height and weight. If you want to compare the variation between height and weight, you cannot use range because they are measured by using different unit of measurement. So in this case, we will use coefficient of range instead of range. Now my question is, what is the unit of measurement of coefficient of range? Does coefficient of range has unit of measurement or it does not have?
Expressed in percentage.
Very good. Coefficient of range percentage ma measure गरिन्छ. That's why it does not have unit of measurement. यसको unit of measurement भनेकै percentage हो. Now, अब एउटा ग्रुप छ height अर्को ग्रुप छ weight. अब height को पनि coefficient of range केमा आउँछ? Percentage मा. Weight को पनि coefficient of range केमा आउँछ? Percentage मा. Higher the value of coefficient of range, higher the dispersion. It's so easy now. Higher the value of coefficient of range, higher the dispersion. Lower the value of coefficient of range, lower the dispersion. Now my question is, what is the minimum value of coefficient of range? Yes, what's the minimum value of coefficient of range?
Zero.
Any idea? What is the minimum value of coefficient of range?
Zero, sir.
Zero.
0. Kina 0? Kina 0?
सेम छ त्यो भेरिएबलहरुको भ्यालु
Good. Kina 0 भने range को minimum value 0 हुन्छ. त्यो largest observation minus smallest observation भनेको के हो? Range हैन त?
यस सर
त्यो coefficient of range को numerator part मात्र हेर त, that is the range, हो कि हैन?
यस सर
Oh, see, the minimum value of range is 0. That's why the minimum value of coefficient of range is also 0. Are you clear now?
यस सर
Okay, ठीक छ. त्यसो हो भने what is the maximum value of coefficient of range? What is the maximum value of coefficient of range?
1
Why? Why 1?
no sir no, does not exist
Yeah, it does not exist. किन? Range को maximum value कति थियो अनि? Upper limit. हामीले डिफाइन गर्न सकेको थिएन नि.
हजुर
हो त्यस्तै गरी coefficient of range को पनि upper limit चाहिँ डिफाइन गर्न सकिदैन. We can define the lower limit. Obviously that is 0, but we cannot define the upper limit. This is all about range and coefficient of range. If you have any question, you can ask me. If you have any question regarding to range and coefficient of range, you can ask me. No question? That means सबै बुझ्यौ? कतै केही कन्फ्युजन छ भने सोध, पछि एक्जाम आउँछ नि. कुन बेलामा रेन्ज निकाल्ने, कुन बेलामा कोएफिसिएन्ट अफ रेन्ज निकाल्ने, क्लियर भयो कि भएन?
यस सर क्लियर
भयो, सबैलाई क्लियर भएको हो?
यस सर
ल त्यसो हो भने अब त्यो अस्ति मैले दिएको किताब तिमीहरूले त्यो हेर्यौ होला हैन? अथवा मैले अर्को भनेको थिएँ बहुमूलको फन्डामेन्टल्स अफ बायोस्ट्याटिस्टिक्स, त्यो पनि हेर. त्यसमा अनि त्यो रेन्ज र कोएफिसिएन्ट अफ रेन्जको न्युमेरिकल प्रोब्लमहरु त्यसमा गर्ने. ओके, अनि तिमीहरूले के गर्ने भने पछि अब प्र्याक्टिकल फाइलमा न्युमेरिकल प्रोब्लमहरु सबै सोल्भ गरेर देखाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ. न्युमेरिकल प्रोब्लम चाहिँ केबाट सोल्भ गर भने अब अहिले अब तिमीहरू लाइब्रेरी जान मिल्दैन, त्यही भएर त्यो अनलाइन बुक बहुमूलको त्यो डाउनलोड गर अनि त्यसबाट हेरेर अथवा त्यसको वर्कआउट एक्जाम्पलहरु हेरेर त्यो सोल्भ गरे पनि हुन्छ, एक्सरसाइजबाट सोल्भ गरे पनि हुन्छ. गर्न चाहिँ गर्ने है त. तिमीहरूले प्र्याक्टिकल त्यो रेकर्ड बुक फाइल लियो कि लिएनौ? किनेको छ कि छैन? त्यहाँ चौकोटमा बेचिरहेको हुन्छ नि.
यस सर
हो, त्यो किनेको छैन भने पछि किनेर त्यसमा सोल्भ गर्नु, किनेको छ भने अहिले त्यसमै सोल्भ गर्नु, पछि तिमीहरूलाई लोड हुँदैन है त. त्यो पछि तिमीहरूले प्र्याक्टिकल एक्जाममा सबमिट गर्नुपर्छ. इट क्यारिज 5 मार्क्स. Practical file carries 5 marks in your exam. So try to maintain your practical file. And on exam, we will ask the question based on that practical file. So in my portion, biostatistics, I will ask you a question based from your practical file. मैले अहिले जे जे सोल्भ गर भनेको छु हो त्यसबाटै मैले क्वेशन निकाल्दिन्छु प्र्याक्टिकल एक्जाममा. थ्योरीको लागि अब कसले क्वेशन सेट गर्छ के गर्छ. ओके, now next one, quartile deviation. Quartile deviations are based on quartiles, and it is defined as the differences between third quartile and first quartile That means quartile deviation equals to Q3 minus Q1. Q3 minus Q1. Quartile deviation is defined as the differences between third quartile and first quartile. That means quartile deviation equals to Q3 minus Q1. Now to calculate quartile deviations, first of all, you must calculate the values of quartiles. That means value of Q1 and the value of Q3. And based on those values, you can easily calculate the value of quartile deviation. And it is not necessary to solve the problems from quartile deviations. Okay. Now next one is interquartile range. This one is homework for you. Just go through that textbook that I recommended for you, and from there find the definition of quartile deviation as well as interquartile range. Find the definition of interquartile range from that book. This one is homework for you. Now, once you are clear about quartile deviation and interquartile range, you can easily define coefficient of quartile deviation. And that is also explained in detail in that book. Please go through that. This one is homework for you. If you will not be confused, if you will not be clear, if you will be confused, you can ask me in my next class. But that is described in an easy way. So first of all, download that book and study it. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask me. If you don't have any question, then on next class, we will study about standard deviation. And that is very, very important, because on most of the research paper, you will come across standard deviation and variance. So I will explain about those in my next class. Okay? If you have any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, this was for today.
So what was the name of the book?
Fundamentals of Biostatistics. Rosner. Writer is Rosner. R-O-S-N-E-R.
You said about other book.
Which other?
For numericals, you said, I think, different name.
Yes, for different name. Which one? I think that one is the good book, Rosner. Okay, I'll check it. Just wait a minute. Okay, Fundamentals of Biostatistics, Bernard Rosner.
Okay, sir.
त्यो अनलाइन पाउँछ है
हजुर सर, त्यो डाउनलोड गर्छु।
त्यहाँ डाउनलोड गरेर त्यसबाट प्रब्लम सल्भ गर्नु। त्यो बुकको एउटा राम्रो के छ भने there are many numerical problems, lot of numerical problems based on different discipline of medicine, like say microbiology, ophthalmology, medicine, cardiology, surgery, etc. etc. That is a good book. त्यसलाई एक्चुअली डाउनलोड गरेर पछि तिमीलाई 7th सेमिस्टरसम्म काम लाग्छ। है त अनि न्युमेरिकल प्रोब्लम त्यसबाटै पर्छ ट्राई गर सजिलो छ न्युमेरिकल प्रोब्लम गाह्रो छैन अनि लेन्दी चाहिँ हुन सक्छ कुनै कुनै प्रोब्लमहरु तर गाह्रो छैन र त्यसमा इजिली एक्सप्लेन गर्छ सबै कुराहरु all the concepts are explained in a lucid manner so you can follow that book so if you have any question please ask me otherwise this must be no question okay if you don't have any question then के गर्ने अब no question okay then bye
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.